It is Monday, which means OneSoccer today is back for its first episode of the week. I'm contractually obligated now to call him Hot Wheels. So Hot Wheels, Gareth Wheeler is joining us today.
Title.
Oliver Platt, of course, and Jordan Wilson, who not only is a star for York United, but apparently now works for a call center and is ready to take your call and answer your questions. Jordan, welcome to the show, buddy. In the pure magic of TV, we were just about to go to air, and then Oliver Platt putting Shams and Woj to shame. He's got some inside news that we want to break to start the show.
That's exactly right, Adam. Good comparisons there for me. We're hearing some Monday transfer news, which is that Atletico Ottawa may be getting close to signing a former Barcelona man, Barcelona B man to be precise, and Montreal, CF Montreal player Balou Tabla, which would be a really interesting one. Obviously for the CPL, like you think back a few years ago before Balou went to Barcelona when he was still in Montreal during his first spell, and this is someone who was being talked about in the same breath as Alphonso Davies. Obviously, it's not worked out for him since then, and there's a lot of questions around, his future and his direction from here. But Atletico could be a nice place to maybe revive that, and obviously a place where he's going to be, straight away one of the key players and get that opportunity to play regular minutes in a professional league that he hasn't had a whole lot of recently. So that could be an interesting one.
Gareth, you want to take the next word on your thoughts on the move?
Love it. This is what this league is all about for players to whether it's rebuild their confidence, rebuild or recognize that promise that the player certainly once upon a time had in the Canadian Championship last year. Scored 2 goals against Halifax Wanderers, so success. A good reference point right there. And look, like this is an extreme makeover within this Atletico Ottawa squad, and what they really lacked last season is creative players up top, some pace, some difference makers in the team. Good age at 22. I think this is a good signing, and full credit to Atletico Ottawa convincing the player that this project is one that's worthwhile to take on and could lead to another step or two forward in his career.
Jordan, you're going to have some work to do a little bit more now when you guys play Ottawa. What do you think of the move?
I think it's exciting news. My goal and my dream is always just to have great players come into the league because it's a great country and there's been talent here forever. So to finally channel that and have a league where we could play is phenomenal. Now, I don't want to send out any threats, but regardless of if you played Barcelona B or Barcelona A, you still have 2 legs, and I still will want to kick you. So don't think that you're going to just come to this league and you're the new Messi in CPL. That's not the case. That's not. So when you come to play York, at least I can promise you it will be a challenge. You're not just going to go score hat tricks and be a prima donna. Like, we will definitely leave a mark on you for sure. That kind of sounded like a threat.
Love it.
I didn't mean
it sounded more like a threat.
Yeah, it got more threat worthy as it went on.
I don't know if anyone's ever said I don't want to make any threats and then followed it, not followed up with a threat.
That was shades of Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights, where he goes on with his "with all due respect" and then just drops a massive insult.
Just want to say, look out for Ottawa.
Yeah.
It's difficult for an expansion team. Carl Horvath coming back into the team.
He's quality.
Ottawa City legend. He's quality. Look, I think that a lot of clubs, and the best run clubs in this league or anywhere around the world, you realize where you need to improve, where you need to get better. And I think these are a couple statement signings by Atletico Ottawa.
Big question remaining. Who's going to be the gaffer? Exactly, Ollie. Valor, another one who's on the rise.
What do you got? What do you got there, Ollie? CPL insider?
TBC.
That's boring.
Ooh, not
Thanks for
determined.
nothing.
Okay.
We got Jordan Wilson making threats to newcomers to the CPL, and Ollie's dropping a TBC.
No, welcome.
Let's get into the show, of course, with the first show after a busy weekend. We have lots to talk about, jam-packed one. Want to get into Chelsea, who've added another trophy to their cabinet, toppling the world and becoming world champions in the FIFA Club World Cup. 2-1 extra time over South American side Palmeiras. Jordan, did you even know the Club World Cup was happening?
I knew right before, but honestly, it wasn't enough to make me watch. It's crazy, but like I feel like this game is one of those games where it's just like there's too many games, there's too many competitions. In my opinion, I feel like it's just very excessive. Yeah, so I didn't even tune in. I'm not gonna lie to you guys at all.
Hot Wheels, that's it's an interesting one because it's allegedly, and it is a World Cup, it's the Club World Cup. In theory, we put so much emphasis on the various Champions Leagues, so why do you think the competition is largely forgotten about?
I don't think it should. I think it needs a proper platform because I love the concept. I love the idea. I love the reward for every club team that wins their individual region to come together and play one another and let's see who's the best. It's just been a little bit of too much of a mere formality based on European teams winning this club competition on an annual basis. But the reason why it gets lost, Adam, to answer your question, is it's right smack in the middle of a club season. so on the weekend, the Premier League's going on, La Liga's going, like people are following their own club teams. If you're a Palmeiras supporter, a Chelsea supporter, any other club that played in that competition, it mattered. And look, the Palmeiras fans were brilliant on the day, and they gave Chelsea a right go. They gave them a real game. It's just this is one of those perennial conversations that we have about other sports as well. When's the best time to put this competition on the calendar to get the most out of it? This time of year, early February, late January, it's just not the best timing for me.
No, there's no doubt that we have this debate, this question more than any other sport with football, with how do you manage schedules around the world in some leagues with different formats and timelines. But do you expand the tournament? Do you change the date? Do you change how it's actually hosted? What are your thoughts on how to actually improve this thing? Because it deserves the eyeballs.
Well, yeah, it's difficult because like the idea is nice, like having all of the best teams from the best continents, or all the continents around the world. Like that's theoretically interesting. I just think it's a tough sell to really, suggest to fans that this is bigger than the Champions League, right? Because ultimately they're going to judge the importance of the competition on the quality of the opponents they play against, and the best opponents they play against are all European. So when you won the UEFA Champions League and you've beaten Man City and all of those teams. Like of course, Palmeiras are a really good side. There's good teams from Asia, from all over the place, but they don't compare to the top European teams. So it's difficult to really sell that like this is more important than winning the Champions League final. It may be that this makes you a world champion, which sounds better, but what's actually more difficult is to become the European champion, right? So it's a tough one on that front. We do play a lot of football, too much football, in my opinion, and squeezing another competition in.
No such thing.
Honestly, the last couple of years when we've had games like every single day for the pandemic has been brilliant. horrible,
amazing. So
I hate
good.
it. Oh. I hate it the way it's been spread out so much.
Because you hate football.
I like my match days, right? I like to be able to look at the league table at the end of the day and everyone's played, So I think less is more. Thank you, Jordan. I think less is more, and this is just another competition on the calendar.
Jordan, you should know by now. I know this is only your second OneSoccer today at home, but if I see a mug that raises suspicion, I'm going to call you out for it. Ollie with his Patriots, you with the letter S. What's that about?
It's just me being honest and transparent. It's my fiance's mug. I don't have a mug. I'm a minimalist. So
I'll buy you one
this morning.
I'll buy you one, buddy.
And yeah, I have my little mint tea, my peppermint tea going.
We'll have to get Angus on the phone to get you a York United mug. But your thoughts on the Club World Cup, and you mentioned it. You said it deserves more eyeballs, but as a player, how can you make this more interesting and taking on an opponent from the other side of the world you've never heard of in an already busy fixture window?
Yeah, I think it's just about the, like Wheel said, it's just about like the platform, right? Getting it right. But I think, for me right now, it just stands as just like an extra. I don't know. It's just excessive, like I said before. And I don't know the right platform to go about it, but just to drop it like dead set in the middle of a season, it's not really working. Like you said, not a lot of people are tuning in. If you're a fan of like Chelsea and Palmeiras, that's a huge game, and obviously they want to go and support their squad. But with so much going on, FA Cups for English teams, Champions League, obviously Premier League titles as well, they need to find a way where it's a time where it's marketable. Because right now it's not.
Jordan, I'll tell you this, though, just really quickly. If Montreal goes on and wins the Champions League, or Forge wins the Concacaf Champions League this year and qualifies for this competition, everyone will be on board in this country.
That's very
so it's very much are the clubs involved, and that's what these clubs aspire to. So, I think that we need a little bit more of that experience close to home to kind of at least amp up our interest in this great country. So
well said.
Well, on the topic of World Cups and amping up our interest in this country, let's talk about the fact that Canada's on the verge of going to Qatar for the first time in my lifetime and Ollie's lifetime. It's an exciting time to be a supporter of Canadian soccer. And we've got a lot of questions about what that March window is going to look like. Of course, reports.
I think Jordan's lifetime as well, right? So.
Yeah, Jordan, you're not as old as Wheels. That's true too. I was just trying to make an old person joke at Gareth, but I had a little bit of collateral.
Don't call you old.
A little collateral damage. Okay. Back on track, gentlemen. Back on track. Julian Nagelsmann on Sunday gave us an indication that Alphonso Davies is recovering well, but Gareth, is he recovering well enough and fast enough to be a prominent fixture in the next window for Canada?
Don't know. I don't think anyone knows other than Davies, people in his inner circle, the people at Bayern Munich. But certainly this is, and as we've documented on this show before, this can be problematic. We referenced another player last year that we know missed about 3 months and wasn't the same until months later dealing with myocarditis. So look, whether he's ready to play or not, what I hope, because Canada is probably in a situation where they might, they don't necessarily even need to pick up a point in this next window and they could still qualify. But just to have those moments, like these great Canadian sporting moments that are going to live for eternity, I want Davies there, right? Like celebrating with the team, with the squad, even if he can't play. I mean, the plan is that he will be able to play, but regardless, I want to see him part of the squad and just part of this, what's going to be a pretty iconic Canadian sporting moment.
That's a good shout. One of the sort of circling back indirectly to the Club World Cup was Christian Pulisic, star for the U.S. men's national team, of course, for Chelsea as well. And he sat down with ESPN FC and was talking about some of his recent struggles with his time with the Americans and the pressure he's putting on himself, saying that sometimes he feels and often he feels like he has to save the U.S. men's national team to live up to the standards, the high standards, I should add, that others have put on him. Jordan, does this strike you as an odd mindset for a player? I know everyone's different, but you'd think someone at the same caliber as Alphonso Davies and towards the best players in Concacaf would want the pressure, would want the spotlight.
He's not a savior. Let's just get one thing straight. Like, he's a baller, like I said last week. He's a very good player. But I think as a player, someone who's maybe a leader of a team or the golden boy, I think that's fair to say, for the U.S. men's national team.
Hershey Jesus, I believe.
He needs to relish the pressure. He can't let it consume him. And what I mean by relish it is go out every day and try to make something happen. He's thinking, I got to put USA back on the map, or I gotta take us to the round of 16. He just needs to enjoy his football. When he's enjoying and he has that schoolboy look in his eye, that's when he does his best. He can't think that, I need to be the next Landon Donovan, or I need to go. He just needs to be him and do the most that he can for his team.
It's a different market. It's a different media spotlight between Canada and the U.S., and the hope is that Canada is getting there. But there's no doubt there's a ton more pressure, at least for country, on Pulisic than Alphonso Davies, Ollie. But having said that, we've never really seen Fonzie act like he's scared or act like he's putting too much on his back. This was a team, we've talked about this narrative, no one really expected them outside of the squad to get to Qatar, and yet they're almost there. Never, though, have we seen Davies sort of shrink under that weight. Does that mean that he just handles pressure differently than Christian Pulisic does?
Well, firstly, you're right. The US media market is a different beast to Canada. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. And so that pressure, I don't think you can really fully compare. But the second thing I'd say is I think, like, we talked about a couple of times that Alphonso Davies has had games where he seemed to be trying to do too much, right? But I think the key difference between the two of them is that Davies is kind of given the freedom to do that. Like, I think John Herdman basically accepts that that's going to happen. We've asked him about it a couple of times, and he says, you don't want to inhibit this guy. Like, you never want to say to Alphonso Davies, stop trying things, or, don't be yourself out there on the pitch. And so, there's some costs that come with that in terms of he can't give the ball away at certain times, but then you also get the amazing upside of what he can do at his best as well. I think with the US, when I watch that team, it's much more about, it's less about players playing with complete freedom and much more about everyone doing their job. Like, it's a very structured way of playing, a very structured system, and everyone has to fulfill their role in it and not try to do any more. And so I don't think Pulisic gets given the same kind of freedom and opportunities to basically just go out there and express himself. And that's something that I think he's adjusting to, right? Is on the one hand, you have this heavy weight of being expected to be the guy who comes up with the goods. And on the other hand, you have your coach telling you, I don't need that from you. I just need you to be, one guy of 11 in this team.
I think it's bigger than this. I think that a lot of people around U.S. soccer have set up some of these players for disaster. What happened after failing to qualify in 2018 and the reaction was absolutely insane. And I understand why there was angst. The United States should have always qualified for that World Cup. But to make villains out of players like Michael Bradley, Josie Altidore, every time they play in American Stadium, they're getting booed. Because it's it was their fault that they didn't go on to win a World Cup. So I think it goes a little bit deeper like that. If you're a young man in Pulisic, who experienced that, who saw what actually happened to these U.S. men's national team legends, I'd be putting more pressure on myself as well. So I think that this is more, it's mental, it's emotional, it's visceral, and I think he feels it.
Well, no doubt he feels it, and you got to remember how young this guy is in his career and some of the things he's gone through. Of course, Kuva is going to be in the Americans' memories forever. I mean, Christian Pulisic's team bus was bombed at one point when he was still a teenager. So this guy's seen and experienced the worst and the hardest hardships of football. So no doubt that the way the table is, especially, it's a different dynamic of pressure right now between the two stars. But they will be entertaining Canadian and American supporters for a long time to come. Jordan, when you think about Canada's men's national team and Canada in any sport, typically the layup is Canada-USA is the big rivalry. And it is certainly for this country, but in CONCACAF for the longest time, it's been Mexico and the Americans. Who's going to be the top dog in the region? Do you think that's shifting now? Is Canada-USA the new top rivalry in CONCACAF?
It's absolutely shifting, but I don't think it's there yet. Canada being ranked 33rd, I think this is a milestone. Anyone who's watched and followed Canada for the past, I'll say 30 years, because that's how long I've been alive. You can see how far we've come. But yeah, 86 being the last World Cup that we are at, there's been some hardship. So for sure that we're growing as a nation, and for sure that rivalry with the U.S. is growing as well. Watching the past game in Hamilton, it was an amazing atmosphere, and you could see we are the big brother for once. But we are still talking about a Mexican team that is ranked 12th and a U.S. team that is ranked 13th, and they just have that history. We're catching up, but we're still that little brother trying to get in the ring with them, in my opinion, in terms of the rivalry standpoint.
Let us know in the comments below as you're watching this. USA-Mexico may be the most historic rivalry, but is Canada-USA the best rivalry right now in CONCACAF? We want to move on slightly, but we'll stay within the CONCACAF region. Champions League, Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League kicks off on Tuesday. Mr. Gareth Wheeler will have the call of CF Montreal and Santos Laguna. I will have the call on Wednesday of Forge and Cruz Azul, who just had an interesting defeat at home at the Azteca the other day to Necaxa. Ollie, what does the Hamilton side need to do to get points against Cruz Azul? They'll have the weather. We've seen how that affects the Mexicans, at least on the national team front, but there's no doubt this is the biggest test ever for Forge, and it's not even close.
What's the forecast for Wednesday? I haven't looked. Cold?
It's minus 20 right now in southern Ontario, so I imagine it's going to be somewhat cold.
Right. I'll say that helps. That's point number one. We've seen, in the Champions League in the past, and obviously with the Mexican national team, that can play a factor. But look, I think there's no escaping it. They're going to have to play the best game they've ever played. Forge to beat a team like Cruz Azul, to get a result against a team like Cruz Azul, and they go in as massive underdogs. They do have, I think, a much better chance in the home leg of getting something. Again, partially due to the conditions on the night than at Azteca. But it's going to be a real challenge, and it's going to be a challenge for Forge as well, because there's quite a few new faces in that team, right? They should be able to put out an 11 that's got a fair bit of consistency from last year. But they've also brought in quite a few new players who I think they'll want to be involved in this game, and to use the quality they have. The two Pacific guys, obviously, Sissoko, some really interesting players they brought in that can make an impact. So first game of the year against a team like this is going to be really, really difficult, but pressure's off, and anything you get is a bonus, right?
Well, I gotta apologize for the sassy. It's -20, so I expect it to be cold. The current forecast for Wednesday, 8 degrees with 15 millimeters of rain. So that'll be an interesting affair in Hamilton. Jordan, I'm gonna get you to weigh in on both of these ties in a moment, but we'll go to Gareth. You've got the match coming up on Tuesday night, Santos and CF Montreal. Look, what are the expectations for the matchup and for Montreal in this competition? They're the higher seed. They play leg one on the road.
Yeah, the higher seed doesn't mean a thing at all. Like always in this competition, all of these, Canadian American teams are at a disadvantage because this is essentially extended preseason for them. Like it was remarkable, and it seems like ages ago, but TFC defeating Club Leon, like how that happened, I have no clue, because it goes completely against the script, and it goes against the script about the way that their season went. I'll say this: Santos Laguna does seem vulnerable. They've lost their last 4 games. This isn't one of the top sides in Liga MX, and we all know that the distance between Liga MX teams and MLS teams continues to narrow each and every year. And I think familiarity breeds success for this CF Montreal team, that they know the system that they're going to play. A lot of familiar faces are back in the team. There hasn't been wholesale changes. I think there could be some changes internally. Who will be the goalkeeper? Will it be Breza? Will it be Pantemis? We'll see about that. What kind of fitness is Rudy Camacho coming in a little bit late into the CF Montreal camp? Or is everyone up to fitness? I thought that Ramel Kyoto over the course of those international World Cup qualifying games looked a little bit heavy to me. Such an important player for this team in attack, a team with some limited options across those positions. But look, Montreal's a fighting chance. Keep it manageable in this first game. You bring it back to the Big O, not a fun place to play, a place where CF Montreal in their past have had a whole lot of success in this competition. And we'll see. If there's ever a chance for a Canadian team to go on and do something here, based upon their structure, their shape, that familiarity, I think CF Montreal's in a pretty decent spot.
If we get a 2-for-2 Canadian sweep of the round of 16, we will have CF Montreal and Hamilton facing off in the quarterfinals, a rematch of the Canadian Championship semi at Tim Hortons Field. Jordan, just a quick word from you on this one. The Nine Stripes win the Canadian Championship. You guys are in this boat next year. Could be taking on an MLS side, a Liga MX side. What excites you about the round of 16 coming up this week?
What excites me is actually I thought about it, and I feel like Montreal has it. It's really weird, this feeling that I have, but I actually feel like this is their time. Yeah, I think we played. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this publicly, but forgive me. We played Forge last week in a preseason friendly to send them off before they go. And yeah, for them, as Wheel said,
how'd they look right now? How'd they look, Jordan?
You're gonna have so many people asking.
They're not in shape yet, and what could you ask of them with a treacherous long season of last year? They had a little break, and then you're trying to prepare out in -15-degree weather. It's not ideal circumstances. Yeah. Plus having a team that is missing a Cisse or a Mobile Bully from last year, and a Crutzen out with injury. It's just a different forward side. So I find it difficult to believe that they could pull something off. But anything's possible. My father said the ball is round; it rolls anywhere it wants to, and that could be true this week. But they're gonna have to really grind, and it's gonna take a good 15 of them to put in a shift.
That's what I'm going to put on your mug for next week's show. The ball is round. It can roll wherever it pleases. One of the big moves for CF Montreal in the offseason was bringing in Alistair Johnston. We've talked about who won the trade and talking about how good of a move it was for Alistair, but he's a defender like you, Jordan. He's an exceptional talent. He's been rising to every occasion for John Herdman on the national team front. Does he raise the ceiling for CF Montreal and their seemingly all-Canadian defense?
100% he does. This is a kid who has feet. He used to play in the midfield. Now he's playing right back. In the modern game, you want your right back similar to ours, Christopher Ensa, who's just a dog, running up and down as well. But I think the plus or the upside that Alistair Johnston has is that he's exceptional both ways. Going forward, he's going to deliver some crosses, but you can also say he's going to hold a guy for 90 minutes. So yeah, they really got a steal in my opinion, and I'm just really happy that I could talk about Canadian right backs like that and say that you got a good deal on a young player who has so much potential, brings so much energy. and has so much. He's eager to learn, which is a great quality for a younger player as well.
Wilson, I appreciate the point, but I have to say you're proving my case a little bit by saying things like modern football and this kid when we're trying to defend your age a little bit there. Ollie, is this Canada's team? Is CF Montreal Canada's team with the way they're comprised right now and all of the Canadians on their roster?
Well, I'm going to say no because I think Canada is Canada's team, right?
And
like,
you're
I don't
afraid
think...
of the Toronto and Vancouver Hives, is this what you're saying?
Yeah, like I can't see people across the country. Well, not I wouldn't say I'm afraid, but I can't say I see people across the country like being, suddenly backers of the CF Montreal team. I think they'll be very well supported in Montreal, obviously. So I don't know if Canada has a team outside of the national team, and I don't think they need one with the way both national teams have been playing over the past year. But it's a really interesting project. I think it's the first time in MLS history that a Canadian MLS team has been majority Canadian players, which has taken a while to get to, but we know all the factors that are kind of playing into that happening now. And I like this tie for them. I think it's a test, but a winnable one. They can get through this and get the matches under their belt, then the whole competition opens up for them.
Well, Gareth, we come to you when we want predictions, so we're going to give you the first word on this.
Well,
we'll get everyone to weigh in.
Can I just weigh in on this Canadian team thing?
Sure you can.
Other Canadian teams should be your rivals. You should hate every it's happened in this country for hockey for so long with people. Oh, my team went out. I'm going to cheer for this team because they're Canadian. No, you should hate their guts because they're the city that's celebrating success while you're miserable at home cheering for your loser team. So look, and just on this, TFC is now going in a direction, far more Canadian players getting an opportunity. Same thing goes with Vancouver. I think that it's not just a strategy of stockpiling Canadian talent. We're finally at a point where Canadian talent's good enough to crack Canadian rosters, squads come in through the academy and get a real opportunity. We weren't at that point, but now we are, thanks to places like the Canadian Premier League and the academies and various different systems that have become much more professional. So, no, they're not Canada's team. Predictions, I don't know. I think they both bow out of the competition. This is preseason for both these Canadian teams in this competition. The odds are always stacked against them. And with Santos Laguna struggling, it's going to mean that much more to them to try to find some form in this competition.
Jordan Wilson, anything more optimistic? One big prediction for CONCACAF Champions League?
I told you, I had a dream. Montreal's doing well. Like I said, the odds are stacked against them. And Montreal, I'm telling you guys are laughing, but when it happens, you're gonna call me up.
We will.
I hope it happens. I hope it happens, man.
No, but I hear what you're saying. The odds are totally stacked against them. It's really unfair. No one's in form right now. You're maybe 80%. You have 80% of the legs that you'd have in 2-3 months time. It's really not fair. But I think they might have enough quality to make it interesting, truthfully.
Ollie, what are you dreaming about? There's a question I never thought I'd ask you on this show.
I think Montreal has a really good shot, and Jordan's dream has only made me more confident in that, so I'll stick with them. Forge is going to be really tough, right? Try and get a result at Tim Hortons Field. That would be an amazing result for them. I think it's going to be very difficult for all the reasons Jordan outlines about the way they're coming into this. But you give it your best there, and then you enjoy the experience at Azteca.
Well, it is Valentine's Day, and I'm not sure if anybody knew this, but Gareth's favorite holiday by a long shot. It's just good thing it wasn't on Friday because we know how he feels with the commenters. But yes, Gareth, he's a big teddy bear. He loves his love. So we have a couple of Valentine's Day inspired questions to wrap the show up today. But I will start with Ollie. Show everyone how this game is played, you big, beautiful romantic. Who in the world of soccer are you a secret admirer of?
Secret admirer of? Okay, I've given this no thought.
I love how this was in the rundown, so you knew it was coming, and you do this act like you don't know what you're going to say. You're so full of it.
No, I don't. I completely forgot about this question. So now I have a secret admiration, I'd say, for Jose Mourinho, even though I don't really rate him as a manager anymore. I think he brings a ton to the game in terms of entertainment. Most of my favorite Premier League interviews, post-game interviews ever, he is responsible for. So I like having him around, even though I wouldn't want him in charge of my club anymore.
Gareth, who are you a secret admirer of?
Got plenty. Jordan Wilson makes my list. My favorite Canadian Premier League player. I hate to say it because I'm a diehard Manchester United supporter, but Kevin De Bruyne is boss, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he actually is. So if there's a player that, is wearing blue and I'm supporting red, I'm just looking at saying, wow, jaw dropped, heart palpitations, Cupid over my head. It's Kevin De Bruyne.
Probably get those palpitations checked out. Jordan, what about you?
I'm going with Karim Benzema. 100%.
Good shout.
Yeah, I'll do it quick because I know we're running out of time. But for me, he scored 209 goals and like 400 and something appearances, like a goal every other game. But even, let's say, probably one of my favorite defenders, Rio Ferdinand, if you hear him talking about Karim Benzema, he'll tell him that he's the most complete striker he's played against. Like, smooth like butter on the ball. And what I love about Benzema and why he needs to get his flowers right now while he's still playing is that he doesn't mind taking a number 2 role as like a number 9. What I mean by that is when he was playing with Ronaldo, he was setting up Ronaldo, and you don't see many 9s that are okay being a number 2 or not being in the spotlight, seeing that someone who's better than you, but you find a way to like complement them. But he's dangerous, man. Good in the box, his movement's incredible. He's not and I appreciate him because he's not the fastest or most explosive player, but he always finds a way to get an edge on his defenders. Yeah, Karim he's dangerous.
3 very good shouts. Ollie's, I guess, was okay, but I appreciate where he was going with it. On the opposite side of the spectrum, the cynical side, if you will, of Valentine's Day, Ollie, who is not getting a Valentine's Day card from you?
Okay, can you come to? How about we go in reverse order so I have some time to think here?
Dear. Okay,
I'll take this away because I'm a professional.
Thank you, Wheels, for saving us once again.
This is in the theme. I thoroughly enjoyed the Super Bowl last night. But now the last 2 Super Bowl winners are the Glazers and Kroenke, the owners of Manchester United and Arsenal, respectively. While their NFL teams are reaching great heights, what about their Premier League teams? They've been underfunded, undersupported, not properly run, from the mess that's United right now to Gunnosaurus getting the sack and Arsenal being not even a Europa League side. It's a shambles. These clubs matter. Their fans matter. So although the Glazers and Kroenke can win one thing, they're certainly missing out on a massive opportunity when it comes to properly supporting the Premier League sides.
Gunnosaurus is definitely getting my Valentine's Day card. Just want to get that out.
Gunnosaurus.
Jordan, who's not getting a Valentine's Day card from you? Besides Baloo Tabla, which we established about half an hour ago.
No, I made my threat. It's
in his back pocket. In his back pocket, buddy.
He needs to stay on the other side. Whatever side I'm playing on, he needs to be on the other side. If he comes to my side, I'm going to have to kick him. Ruben Passius, he does not get, what is it called? Like a Hallmark card or whatever you used to give to. Ruben Passius, great player, but he lights up when he plays York, and I cannot have that next season. He cannot be scoring every time he plays us. So
great answer.
Yeah.
Okay, Ollie, no pressure. You brought this on yourself, by the way. You let 2 very good answers come before you, so now you better bring the heat.
Oh, they were great answers. I'm going to go with Gareth Wheeler, actually, because I thought Gareth posted to multiple social media accounts a post this weekend that I thought was very mean about Harry Maguire and his attempts to defend against Southampton.
Did you watch it? Did you watch it? I can't even believe what I saw.
I just thought that was unnecessary. Instagram or Twitter, but both.
I just said defending. I did not slander in any way. I just said he's a defender. He was defending, and then people can make up their own conclusions. Come on, me.
Whatever that was.
I think the meaning was clear, and I didn't think that was in the Valentine's weekend spirit.
Honestly, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Okay,
go back
guys.
and watch it. Oh my. Anyways,
Ollie, you really can't rile Wheels up in the final minutes of the show. You really ought to know better by now. We have one final question to get to today. This is a personal favorite for me. I'm going to give it to Jordan first. I want you to make the case why Valentine's Day isn't the worst of all of the cheesy Hallmark holidays, because we all know it's expensive and set up for failure.
I can't. It's the cheesiest holiday. It really is. And it's a holiday just catered for the ladies. Like, we don't get any love this day.
You're not getting a box of chocolate?
You're not doing it right, man. You're not doing it right.
Hey, I'm young in the game. I gotta look up to you, Wheels. Right now, I just got engaged. So for the next 24 hours, I'm working. This name is for the ladies. It's not for us.
If your name is Hot Wheels, you find ways to get it cooking. It's always an opportunity to light that spark. This isn't a cheesy holiday at all. Young men out there, and that's predominantly our audience, this is an opportunity for you to go out, impress, make an impression, show that you care. This is a gateway to potential, not even in terms of relationships, but opportunity to expand your horizons and maybe find someone that you enjoy spending time with. Take advantage of a day like this. Add on those layers of cheese. Extra cheese? Yes, please. Spice it up this Valentine's Day. We should celebrate it all the time, showing love for one another.
Can't wait for the Hot Wheels Dr. Love romance column and advice that we're going to have on OneSoccer.ca soon from Wheels. Ollie, you got to pick up the bar from Hot Wheels, who's very hot right now.
I can't follow that. I do think it's better than Halloween as far as holidays go, though, so it's not last in my pile.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah. Really? Oh, okay. Well, in that case, maybe I'll change my mind. I want to celebrate Jordan Wilson.
I love these
answers, Ollie. Jesus.
The very. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to add, Valentine's Day, people. One last thing on this: it's an opportunity to go the other way as well. It's actually a little bit of a regret of mine, but I was out one time. This was like many, many, many years ago, and I was trying to shop for a Valentine's gift for a young lady I was dating at that time, and I just decided, I don't like her that much. I don't want to spend my money on any of this stuff. So I broke up with her instead. So it's an opportunity to honestly figure out where you stand and whether you want to take things forward. So
did you say that was a regret?
Because I felt bad in the end, but it led me to bigger and better things.
You go from me wanting to re-propose to my fiance to now you being the biggest cynic.
I can go either way. Either way, it's a definitive date.
All right. On that note, gentlemen, that's well past time. We gotta go. We appreciate it. These are always some of my favorite episodes of the week. Jordan, I appreciate you, and I'll be in touch shortly. My phone is having some issues with the buttons, so I'll be calling tech support. Get that headset. Keep that on. Ollie, thank you, buddy. Gareth Wheeler, as always, bringing the heat. Hot Wheels himself. Back tomorrow, Andy, Laura, and Kaylin for more OneSoccer today. And, of course, Concacaf Champions League gets underway this week on OneSoccer. That's it for today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.